Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you weren't sure who you could rely on? Maybe you've been let down before, or perhaps you're just feeling more cautious as the years go by. It's completely normal to question who you can trust, especially as we get older and experience more of life's ups and downs. The truth is, trust is one of those things that can be difficult to navigate, especially when it feels like the world is changing so fast. In this video, we're going to talk about 5 ways to help you figure out who you can trust. Trust is vital to our well-being. It influences everything from our relationships with family and friends to the people we do business with. Choosing who to trust isn't just about following your instincts. It's about making informed decisions that protect your peace of mind. Let's begin with something that seems simple but is often overlooked: consistency. When you're thinking about someone's trustworthiness, pay attention to whether they're consistent in their actions and words. You've probably met people who say one thing and do another. Maybe they promise to help, but when the time comes, they're nowhere to be found. Or perhaps they tell you one story today, and tomorrow it's a completely different version. When someone is inconsistent, it's a red flag. Our words and actions should line up, especially if we're asking someone to trust us. So, when you're evaluating someone, ask yourself, do they do what they say they're going to do? If the answer is yes, that's a good first sign that you can trust them. Another thing to consider is how open and honest someone is with you. Trust doesn't just come from big gestures. It's often built through small moments of honesty. This doesn't mean that someone has to share every detail of their life with you. But if they are willing to be upfront and transparent, it's a good indication that they value your relationship. Pay attention to whether they seem open to conversations, or if they tend to hide things, especially when it matters. True trust is often built when we're able to share our true selves with others, without fear of judgment or rejection. Think about your own relationships. Are you open and honest with others? Or do you keep things hidden, fearing it might damage trust? That openness, or lack of it, can tell you a lot about who you should trust. Now, as we focus on consistency and openness, it's also important to think about how the person treats others. Trustworthy people show respect not just to you, but to those around them. Pay attention to how they behave when they're not directly interacting with you. Do they treat everyone with kindness and fairness? Are they quick to gossip or speak poorly of others? When someone shows respect to everyone, regardless of who they're dealing with, it's often a sign of their integrity. Trust isn't just about how they treat you. It's about how they treat the people who might not be in a position to give them anything in return. The person who treats the waiter with kindness is likely to be the same person who will treat you well. In other words, their character shines through in how they treat others, and this is something we should definitely pay attention to when deciding who to trust. So, now that we've covered the first few points, consistency and openness, let's continue exploring the other ways we can determine who is truly worthy of our trust. As we move forward, let's think about the importance of time. Trust doesn't usually happen overnight. It's something that builds gradually. One of the most powerful ways to gauge whether someone is trustworthy is by seeing how they handle long-term situations. When you look back at your relationship with someone, do you notice that they've been reliable over time? Or have they only been dependable when it was convenient for them? It's easy for people to appear trustworthy in short bursts, but it takes time and consistency to really see someone's true nature. Think about your closest relationships. The ones you trust the most have probably been through ups and downs with you, right? Maybe you've seen how they handle stress or difficult situations, and they've shown you, over time, that you can count on them. Time also reveals someone's ability to follow through. Imagine someone tells you they'll meet you at a certain time, and they're always late, or worse, they don't show up at all. How does that make you feel? Trust takes a hit every time someone breaks a promise or fails to meet an expectation. So, when you're considering whether you can trust someone, pay attention to their track record. Have they been there for you when you really needed them, or have they made excuses? People who are trustworthy prove themselves over time, not just with words but with actions. And these actions don't have to be grand gestures. Sometimes it's the little things, the small acts of reliability, that matter the most. On the flip side, consider how someone reacts when they make a mistake. We all mess up, and the way a person handles their mistakes can tell you a lot about their trustworthiness. Do they own up to their errors, or do they try to shift the blame? Trustworthy. People don't try to cover up their mistakes. They acknowledge them, apologize when necessary, and do their best to make things right. It's a sign of maturity and honesty. So if you notice that someone takes responsibility for their actions and doesn't shy away from admitting when they're wrong, that's a good indication that you can trust them. On the other hand, if someone always has an excuse for their behavior, it's a red flag. Lastly, let's talk about intuition. It's that little voice inside you that tells you whether something feels right or not. Now, I know this might sound a little vague, but hear me out. Our intuition is often a result of our experiences. It's our mind processing all the information we've picked up along the way, even the things we might not consciously notice. When something feels off, it often means that there's something you haven't quite figured out yet. Intuition can be a very powerful tool when it comes to choosing who to trust. If you feel uneasy around someone, don't ignore that feeling. It doesn't mean the person is necessarily bad, but it might indicate that there's something about them or the situation that you need to pay more attention to. On the other hand, if you feel comfortable and at ease around someone, it's usually a sign that they're a safe person to trust. Now that we've covered time, consistency, and intuition, it's clear that choosing who to trust isn't always simple. It's not just about how someone behaves in a single moment. It's about their actions over time, how they treat others, and how they make you feel. Trust is something that takes patience to build and discernment to maintain. As we finish this part, think about the people in your life. Are they showing you that they're worthy of your trust? Are there any relationships where your instincts are telling you that something feels off? Trusting someone is a process, and it's important to recognize when it's being built slowly, steadily, and consistently. With all that said, we've talked about how time, consistency, openness, and intuition all play key roles in deciding who to trust. But there's one more aspect to consider when we're deciding who should be a part of our inner circle, and that's how someone makes you feel. Let's dive into that next. When it comes to choosing who to trust, one of the most important things to pay attention to is how the person makes you feel when you're around them. Trust is deeply connected to how safe and comfortable someone makes you feel, both emotionally and physically. As we age, we become more attuned to the energy of those around us, and this can often tell us a lot about their true intentions. Think about the people in your life who you feel completely at ease with. When you're around them, do you feel accepted and understood? Or do you feel tense, anxious, or on edge? Trustworthy individuals often make us feel comfortable enough to be ourselves. There's a sense of ease when you're with them, whether you're sharing a laugh, discussing something personal, or simply sitting in silence together. People who are trustworthy don't make us second-guess ourselves or feel like we have to put up a front. They accept us for who we are, flaws and all. On the flip side, there are individuals who may make us feel uncomfortable without even saying anything overtly wrong. Maybe they constantly push boundaries or make subtle remarks that leave us feeling uneasy. Trustworthy people, in contrast, make an effort to create an atmosphere of safety. They respect your space and show genuine interest in your well-being. If someone regularly makes you feel anxious or doubtful, it might be a sign that they are not as trustworthy as you might hope. Trust is built on comfort and mutual respect. When you're around someone, you should feel supported, not judged or criticized. Now, let's consider how someone handles conflict. Trust isn't just about the good times. It's also about how people behave when things go wrong. Disagreements and misunderstandings are inevitable in any relationship, but how someone handles those situations can speak volumes about their character. When you're in a tough situation, does the person become defensive, blaming others or making excuses? Or do they approach the issue calmly, ready to listen and find a solution? Trustworthy people are able to engage in difficult conversations without becoming combative or dismissive. They are open to hearing different perspectives and willing to work together to resolve the issue. This kind of conflict resolution is a key indicator of trustworthiness. Someone who can handle disagreements with respect and maturity is more likely to be someone you can count on when times get tough. On the other hand, if a person refuses to acknowledge their mistakes or constantly tries to avoid conflict, it can be a sign that they are not trustworthy, especially when the stakes are high. It's important to assess how people handle adversity in relationships, as these moments often reveal their true intentions and reliability. In addition to this, it's important to recognize how someone celebrates your successes. Trustworthy people are genuinely happy for you when you succeed. They don't feel threatened or try to overshadow your achievements. Instead, they offer their support, cheer you on, and celebrate with you. You've probably experienced situations where someone pretends to be happy for you but doesn't seem quite as supportive in reality. Maybe they make offhand comments that undermine your accomplishments, or they seem more focused on their own success rather than yours. People who genuinely trust and care about you will support your growth and feel joy in your achievements. It's a reflection of their kindness and authenticity, which are essential qualities of trustworthiness. So, when you're deciding who to trust, think about how they make you feel on a deeper level. Are they making an effort to create a positive, supportive environment? Do they listen when you speak, celebrate your successes, and handle conflict with respect? These are all signs of someone who is likely trustworthy. Trust is not just about what someone says or does in the moment. It's about the emotional space they create for you, the safety they provide, and the respect they show during both good times and bad. Now that we've discussed how the people around us make us feel, let's wrap up with a final thought on trust. As we continue to navigate life, trust remains one of the most powerful tools we have for building meaningful relationships and ensuring our peace of mind. While it's true that no one is perfect, it's important to surround ourselves with individuals who consistently show us care, respect, and reliability. And just as importantly, it's crucial that we also take the time to reflect on our own actions and whether we are trustworthy to others. Remember, trust isn't something to rush into. It's something that's built slowly and steadily over time. Keep an eye on the little things: consistency, openness, how people treat others, their track record, and how they make you feel. It's all part of the puzzle. And trust is worth the effort, because when you get it right, it forms the foundation of meaningful, lasting relationships. So as you think about who to trust in your life, take your time. Pay attention to the patterns you see in people's behavior. Trust is a gift, and it's worth investing in the right people who make you feel safe, supported, and valued. Remember, at the end of the day, the people you trust should be the ones who enrich your life, not complicate it. And with that, I encourage you to reflect on the relationships around you. Who are the ones who consistently prove themselves to be trustworthy? Who makes you feel at peace? And who might be leaving you with a sense of doubt? Take the time to build your circle wisely and cherish those who show you the trust and respect you deserve. Thank you for watching, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you have any experiences with trust that you'd like to share? Feel free to leave a comment below. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like and don't forget to subscribe for more insightful content. Here's to surrounding yourself with the right people and living a life filled with peace and trust.